towing or overhauling your ATVs, Tundra is for those who believe play is the new toy. Don't want to miss these deals, so go to buyatoyota.com or visit your local Toyota dealer.
The military thought was definitely interesting. We always would trick us into doing certain things. Not really trick, we would just be getting some push-ups. And somehow those 10 put it out. And for me, I translated into sports. I want to be better. Other people I want to be better. I don't have a problem. I was doing this, I want to be almost working. Which is to be better. My parents both athletic, the track, football, sports. They knew what it took to be better than other people. And they knew that was something differences. There's pictures of me with West Point, all that kind of stuff.
Good morning, get him from the buffet bar.
In sports uniform, in jersey, all those posters and stuff like that. So I mean, it gives you a lot of someone strives to be the way you see that. Put it to be on the posters. It makes you want to be better. My dad wasn't 50. So how did you feel your face? Literally stick a hairbrush in your face because they have questions. You can figure out what to use. The first one I like to show is questions about it. And as time went on, it'd still be kind of fun joking around in the house getting into situations like this, getting questions that I get. Pushing us to be better, like I said. It was a partnership. So it was a good combo. And, as we got older, the show was more on the side. Where you are as a child, where you are as a parent in my household. And I definitely value that a lot. Growing up, being captain to the squad, guys like this, and being in the military cities also good. I told my dad that, and he was like, "You're gonna be great." Been captain before, see a problem, lead the guys in the right direction. To wear that crest. Definitely is a problem. There's a million those people the fans all focused on stuff like that, but to get it right is also military matches and how do behind it. Definitely give you a little bit more power, idea that you get more strength and stuff like that to go ahead and push that out there and do it for the cause.
If they haven't let us bring pizza in, we bring you a pizza, full pizza. Hey.
Visit Soccer Factory and Ron Force for all of your San Antonio FC gear. From support the stars to San Antonio FC jerseys, they have you covered. Tonight, all fans will receive 15% off San Antonio Get all of your San Antonio FC news, notes, and highlights on Twitter at San Antonio FC. Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. San Antonio FC corner cakes are presented by Corner Store. Simply fresh, always fresh.
Help build our fan base and pave a path to Denmark. Become a season ticket member today and be a part of our history in the name. Our city, our club, San Antonio FC.
The United Soccer League and San Antonio FC promote good sportsmanship by athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation by supporting athletes and officials in a positive manner. Offensive language, including racial or sexist comments or other intimidating actions directed to officials, athletes, and coaches or team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal from the site of competition. Please refrain from throwing objects on the playing field, entering the playing field, and interfering with the flow of the game. Violators may be arrested and escorted off the premises. Thank you for your cooperation. Team captain, number 8, midfielder, Blair Gavin. In goal, number 1, Carl Osinski. Number 26, defender, Daniel Altuve. Number 21, defender, Peter Brandon. Number 24, defender, Julian Reynolds. Number 17, midfielder, Rob Ramsey. Number 8, midfielder, Brandon Olieri. Number 35, midfielder, Miguel Skin. Number 10, forward, Tony Castillo. Number 9, forward, Tyler Blackwood. Number 29, forward, Love Mack. Head coach of Arizona United SC, Frank Biella. Antonio FC fans, it's time to meet your starting lineup for this afternoon's match.
Stretched out to the middle, back to
Broke it up. There's a shot. They score! They score!
Gerardo Fords. It's in! Rochester has the lead, and again, it's Sentinels.
A beautiful Sunday beckons over Toyota Field here, Labor Day weekend 2016, in the final 5 games of the regular season for San Antonio FC. They're back at home this afternoon as they welcome in Arizona United SC. Thanks so much for joining us. Along with Jeff Sheen, I'm Dan Weiss. It's great to have you with us. Jeff, San Antonio FC comes into these last 5 games right now outside the playoff picture, but with a favorable schedule and with basically an opportunity presented in front of them. They have a chance over these next few games here to really sew up their spot in their inaugural season.
Yeah, it's really a 2-part process. The first one is taking care of business, especially at home, and getting 3 points at Toyota Field. But they got some help this weekend with a couple of those teams that are in front of them getting some losses, and it really all kind of unfolded for San Antonio FC the right way when they got that win in St. Louis last week. An opportunity now with some extra games compared to their opponents. There's a great chance that not only can they make it into the playoffs, they could actually move pretty high up into maybe the middle of the playoff race.
Well, the reason they are where they are right now is the play of goalkeeper Matt Cardoni, who today will make his 9th start. He's 4-4, Jeff, and this past week, the USL Player of the Week for his performance in St. Louis last Saturday.
When you lose a guy like Josh Ford, who's not only a great goalkeeper, but also your captain, you think, wow, this could be a huge drop-off. Matt Cardoni has been more than equal to the task, and perhaps more importantly, if he can have another consistent game like we've been seeing in his last couple of games tonight, and this San Antonio FC team can do the things that they've been doing offensively, especially the last time they played this Arizona team, if they can do that, they should be able to walk away with 3 points.
Cardoni got a win against Arizona when they were here back in August. He'll try again this afternoon. It's San Antonio FC, Arizona United SC. We'll have starting lineups and kickoff coming up next.
Here you go.
Can't wait to see what this baby can do. Thank you. Good morning.
You remember my parents' anniversary? Wow.
During Toyota's annual clearance event, get $3,000 customer cash. Or qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 72 months on a new 2016 Camry. Toyota. Let's go places.
When it needs to be ultra exciting, high flying, non-stop action, San Antonio FC Soccer's got you covered. When it needs to be high performing, hard working, high tech, super safe, built for comfort, and surprisingly affordable, Holt Cat has got you covered. With best-in-class Cat heavy equipment, engines, generators, and more, plus legendary service and support, and the largest parts inventory and distribution network in Texas. Kick it into high gear with Holt Cat.
Welcome to Corner Store. How can we help?
Well, I'm thirsty.
We have juice, teas, and over 100 ways to create your drink with our Coca-Cola Freestyle.
Wow, that's a lot of drinks.
Need a boost? We've got fresh coffee and great deals on energy drinks.
That's cool and hot.
Ready to relax? Check out our craft beer and wine selection.
Classy.
How else can we help?
I'll just take these. Thanks.
Don't forget the milk. Just $2.39 a gallon at Corner Store. Always fresh, guaranteed. We're fresh and friendly. We're Corner Store.
Celebrate the season right with Stars Basketball and Family Fun Day. Every Saturday and Sunday home game presented by News 4 and Fox 29. Ticket and food packages start at just $13. Head over to sastars.com for more info. Season presented by Krista Santa Rosa Health System and HEB.
Grab your tickets at sanantoniofc.com.
Back at Toyota Field here at San Antonio FC, home game number 13 of the season, 9-9-7 and 34 points right now. Tied for 8th in the Western Conference, the USL taking on Arizona United. SC today at 8-12-6, 4-7-2 on the road. They're currently sitting in a tie for 12th in the USL Western Conference. There's a look at Matt Cardoni. Again, he was named the USL Player of the Week. Today he'll be making his 9th start of the season, coming in with a record of 4-4 along with Jeff Sheen. I'm Dan Weiss. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's take a look at our starting lineups today for both teams. We'll start with San Antonio FC. A couple of changes, Jeff, for San Antonio FC here in today's game. One, Rafa Castillo is back in the starting 11. He did not play in Kansas City last Wednesday because of card accumulation. He had picked up 5 yellow cards, so he is back in after not playing. And also with Seba Terrier and Manolo Sanchez on international duty, Danny Garcia makes his 2nd straight start, and Frank Tayu back in the starting 11 as well.
Yeah, I think with Frank being in the starting 11, though, Dan, I mean, eventually, just with what he's been able to do as a goal scorer, particularly against this Arizona team, even if if Darren Powell had everybody available to him, I would expect Taiyu to still make the starting 11 just based on the success against Arizona alone.
Now, Taiyu played 33 minutes on Wednesday night, but he's in the 11 here today. There's a look at Arizona United SC, and here's their starting 11 for today. And notable absence for them is Luke Rooney, who picked up his 8th yellow card on Wednesday, and that's the 2nd level of card accumulation. So 6 goals missing from him, but up front, 2 of the leading scorers in the USL, Tyler Blackwood with 8 goals and Long Tan with 8 goals as well. Carl Wachinski is the starting goalkeeper. There, take a look at him for Arizona United SC. 6-10-4. This is his 21st start of the season, a 1.45 goals against average, 5 clean sheets on the season.
Dan, Arizona is still in the playoff hunt. I mean, they're not technically eliminated. However, not only do they need to get a number of wins, they also need a lot of help as well. So when you look at this game, it really is about San Antonio and what they're trying to do with their legitimate playoff run, because they can really control their own destiny versus a team like Arizona where, you know, they're going to have to leave it to some others in addition to the work they have to do.
And on the attack already, here's Rafa Castillo as he tries to thread it through to Taylor Morgan, who Darren Powell spoke very highly of after the game Wednesday night in Swope. You also thought Darren played exceptionally well in St. Louis here. And here's a good run for Tyler Blackwood, but offside. His Long Tan across from him as the flag goes up. A free kick awarded to San Antonio FC. Well, San Antonio FC wearing back in their home blacks, the gray and white trim. Black shorts, black socks, Arizona United in their road whites with the red, navy blue, and gold trim of the white socks. And this first half is underway from Toyota Field, where San Antonio FC has gone 6-3-3 on the season. And Jeff, up until their loss on Wednesday night, they had won their last 3 games, had tied for their longest winning streak of the season.
They are still playing very good soccer. It could have gone as a completely different result against Swope Park. And then we're even talking about San Antonio FC as being a team already in the playoffs, you know, that they would have that 8th seed or better. And, you know, again, they control their own destiny, but even in games where they've lost, and obviously their last game is one of those, they've still played well. I think that the thing to keep in mind for this game is in the previous games against Arizona, it has been some of the best offensive soccer that San Antonio FC has played. If they can have that level of success as they have against this opponent the last couple of times that they've played, again, it really should be 3 points for them walking out of here in a couple hours.
This is the 3rd of 3 meetings between these 2 teams, and as Jeff mentioned, San Antonio FC won the last matchup 3-2 here on August 17th. 5 days prior in Peoria, Arizona, it was United coming away with a 1-0 win. Tyler Blackwood scoring late in that game. The difference is Taiyu sends a ball through Taylor Morgan onside. Morgan shot just wide. The flag had gone up though. It wouldn't have counted anyway.
But those are the kind of opportunities that San Antonio has been able to create for themselves. And I think, Dan, that's the most important thing. If they've shown that in the first 10-15 minutes, if they are creating offensive opportunities for themselves, that momentum really does seem to carry over through the rest of the match.
Well, the game Wednesday night in Swope saw both clubs playing with a very high line, a high back line, and Arizona United SC kind of does the same thing here as we saw on that last sequence, and it was where San Antonio FC took advantage of in the game back on August 17th here at Toyota Field. But their back 4 actually is relatively experienced. You've got Peter Ramage, who played in the Premier League with Newcastle for several years, and also back there as well, Julian Ringhoff. So pretty good inside center backs there for Arizona United SC. Long Tan, who's been offside a couple of times already in this game, gets sandwiched by Pico and Sam McBride as Matt Cardoni comes up with the ball.
Been looking for a call after that, but the official just waving to him. Come on, get up, let's keep going. So we'll see if that's consistent throughout this game, if this is going to be letting them play, or if we'll See a little bit more whistle-happy kind of a match.
Wachinski airmails this one into the seats. It'll be a throw-in for San Antonio FC. Arizona United SC has lost their last 4 games. They actually don't have a win since beating San Antonio FC 1-0 back in the desert on August 13th. And that has obviously put a real dent in their playoff hopes, even though Jeff said they're still alive for the playoffs, sitting right now in a tie with St. Louis FC for 12th overall in the USL Western Conference. Not a lot of separation, Jeff, between 7th all the way down to about 14th.
There isn't, Dan, but there's one thing that I think San Antonio has going for it more than any other team that's really fighting for these last couple of playoff spots, and that is they've played 2 games less than some of the teams in front of them, including Orange County, who has the 8th seed right now. OC has played 27 games. This is game 26 for San Antonio FC. So, you know, usually having games in hand can be a positive thing, but in this case, having a couple of extra games compared to your opponents can be a huge advantage, because if you can just have a tie game, get that point, all of a sudden you're going to catapult yourself over that.
They're the only team not in the playoff picture that controls their own destiny, meaning if they win out, they're in the playoffs regardless of what happens with everybody else. And that's a nice position to be in coming into the last 5 games of your inaugural season.
And I think that the other thing to keep in mind, Dan, and I know that you've spoken to Darren Powell about this, that they really felt that they should have gotten at least a point against Swope Park. So it's one thing, you know, especially when you're in a playoff hunt, you lose a game and you're just like, well, we were just flat out beaten. But if you can have a little bit of anger, a little bit of edge, feeling like you should have had that one as well, that can usually propel you in a positive way to, you know, really take your next opponent, your next match very seriously. I think that's just what we're seeing so far.
A great run by Taylor Morgan, and a pass outside the box to Frank Taillou will set up a dangerous opportunity on a free kick here for San Antonio FC as we roll over into the 7th minute of the first half, and first good scoring chance perhaps here. And nice to have Rafa Castillo back in these set piece situations. Left-footed Castillo, and you've got the right-footed Alvarez over the ball here. And that ball right now sitting about 22 yards away from Carl Wachinski outside the 18-yard box. Rafa Castillo leads the team, 5 goals on the season. Him and Alvarez. Take a look here. Angle benefits Carlos. We'll see who takes it. Castillo goes high, and not really much danger there presented for Wachinski.
And we've seen that play before in that set piece, Dan, and not with positive results, but, you know, again, the way that Rafa can really bend that, it's not like it should be thrown out. It's something that they try, but at a certain point, especially when you're battling and trying to get 3 points in all of these games, you kind of have to wonder if Darren Powell kind of says, you know what, maybe we should maybe look at something different in that spot.
I was also going to say, it's almost a little bit too deep for Rafa at 22 yards out. His long tan's offside for the 3rd time already here in the first 7 minutes. He's better from about 30 yards away because he has a little bit more room to work with bending that ball.
And you look at what just happened over there. What happened? It went over the crossbar. So that speaks to, you're right. There's a certain point where maybe it's just kind of like, you know, you saw Mickey Salazar kind of being back there, and I was wondering, based on where Arizona was building the wall there, if that was something where it was just going to be a dump off and maybe try and do something quick with Mickey there, but, you know, kind of just rolled with the play that we've seen so many times before with Rafa.
Carlos Alvarez leading the team, 6 assists, 45 shots. Second to Rafa Castillo. Foul committed, will be a free kick for San Antonio FC. Center referee today, Patrick Muana. His assistants, Ian Chapman, Joe Pickens, William Tomlinson, the 4th official. Another good run coming up the right flank there as Anderson again with an offside flag going up. And so the runs have been good, you could argue, for both teams here in the first 10 minutes, but they have all been offside, essentially.
Yeah, I think the thing there, though, Dan, is that Taylor, he didn't really have to go after that ball. I think he should have held up, and then you wouldn't have seen the offside there. I mean, it might not have ended up going for anything for San Antonio.
As Blackwood gets one through, and Long Tan delivers it in. It is a goal for Long Tan, set up by Tyler Blackwood, and Arizona United SC in the 9th minute goes ahead 1-0 as finally someone stays onside.
Well, that's the key point, Dan, that you had a situation where it was 3 times in a row that he was offside, but it was very close. And eventually, if you can keep working at it, you're eventually going to have an opportunity like that, and that's exactly what happened for Arizona.
9th goal of the season for 28-year-old Long Tan in his 10th season. He is the first Chinese-born player to ever play Major League Soccer. He is also the all-time leading goal scorer for Arizona United. That is his 28th career goal in 3 seasons with Arizona United SC. And Jeff, what we have come to know all too well with San Antonio FC, when they concede the first goal, they do not have a win this year.
Yeah, that's as bad a stat as you can have for a team, and it's unfortunate for San Antonio.
Another ball delivered deep into the box, looking in the direction of Tony Cassio, who was a teammate of Carlos Alvarez and Josh Ford at the University of Connecticut.
What we've seen so many times is that when San Antonio scores first, they tend to kind of keep moving forward. They keep their offense moving. When they're playing a goal down here, they tighten up, and we've seen it throughout the year. So this is going to be a very tough task for San Antonio. Can they kind of still adopt the way that they've been playing in the last month and a half offensively, even though they're playing down a goal?
Well, if there is a ray of hope, San Antonio FC conceded the first goal in the 3rd minute on Wednesday night in Kansas City, and 5 minutes later converted on a set-piece corner, beautifully headed in by Fajiro, who is not in the starting 11 today with Frank Taiyu back in the starting 11. But having said that, that was really the first time that San Antonio FC gave an excellent response to conceding an early goal.
Well, we'll see. This is kind of what we've seen in the past, though, rather than trying to open anything up.
As McBride returns it to Matt Cardoni. Cardoni, we've talked about this several times already, has put up exceptional numbers coming on in relief of the injured Josh Ford, who is done for the season, broken scapulae. Enters today with a 1.46 goals against average and a save percentage of 72.1%. Jeff, San Antonio FC has never lost in USL play by more than a single goal. And a lot of that is because of not only their back four, but clearly both the keepers and Ford and Cardoni this year.
Absolutely, and it's what we talked about before this game began, that Matt Cardoni not only has been equal to the task, but has stepped his game up to the point where he was the player of the week. So, again, especially on that, you can't blame Matt for that goal. That's completely what happened in front of him rather than that being a soft goal. Again, can San Antonio FC get out at this thing and start playing offensively like they were in the first couple of minutes of this game, where they're creating some opportunities for themselves? Because since that goal, it's all been stagnant around midfield.
This is the 4th game with that newly configured back four, with Biko along with Greg Cochran, Max Gunderson, and Sam McBride, and of course Stephen McCarthy out for the season. And we haven't seen Milton Palacio since the game in Sacramento back in August, both dealing with long-term injuries at this point. So a little bit more comfort to that back four, but a breakdown communication-wise leading to that Long Tan goal in the 9th minute to open the scoring here today at Toyota Field. And again, when it comes to the playoffs for San Antonio FC, and we've already talked a lot about this and we'll continue to talk a lot about it, the opportunity has presented itself because of how the other teams that are chasing this 8th and final playoff spot have fared already this weekend. San Antonio FC, a loss wouldn't necessarily be detrimental to their playoff chances, but a win would really secure it here going into the final 4 games.
You know, I tweeted it last week. I honestly felt if they won in Swope Park that you could buy your playoff tickets for here at Toyota Field. You know, so the fact that some of the teams that they're vying against have fallen off in their last game this weekend, you've seen some key losses. You're right, Dan, it doesn't put them in a position where they can consider themselves out of this thing, but you know, if they could get the win tonight, I think that you could. You can't put it in big black Sharpie marker, but I think you could pencil them into the playoffs. I think that's how big a win tonight would be.
This is the first Sunday 5 p.m. game that has been played this season at Toyota Field, and the biggest difference is that the sun will be out for the duration of the game. For Arizona, that shouldn't be a big deal. They're used to playing in 100-degree heat throughout the summer. San Antonio FC obviously knows a lot more about the humidity, which is pretty high today. Dew points in the 70s, and there is some rain in the area. Right now, partly cloudy skies, a light breeze out of the southeast. But again, that sun will be out the entire match.
Yeah, you look at some of the teams that have come in here, Dan, it's just kind of, you think about how some of them might have been able to wilt in the heat, and this would have been a huge advantage for San Antonio, but that does not describe Arizona at all.
Salazar, or Garcia rather, Castillo. He gets to Tayuz, held from behind. Play on, says the referee. And again, Danny Garcia. Back in the starting 11, the product of FC Dallas's academy. Alvarez works it to Taylor Morgan. Morgan inside the 18-yard box. Send it back out to Salazar. Some good possession here for San Antonio FC. Looking at counter. Onside, now offside. Carlos Alvarez making the run into the box.
That was close. I like what they did there, Dan. And again, just create some chances for yourself. That's the first legitimate creation of anything that they've gotten since Arizona scored. So you got to take that and say, all right, just keep working forward like that, and eventually good things are going to happen.
The approach by Arizona will be interesting with a 1-0 lead on the road. Again, this is a team that often plays with a high line. Will they go back more into prevent mode here over these 75 minutes or so, try to win this game 1-0, opening that goal on the road, or do they continue to press forward and try to get a second?
Well, you're already going to get booed when you're on the road, so what would you care if they booed even louder if that's the game strategy from this point forward? I don't think anybody wants to see that, and I don't think players want to play that way, but the way San Antonio's offense has been in the last month, Dan, I can't imagine that they would feel like 1-0 is a safe buffer. So I got to imagine Arizona will keep playing the way that they would want to play as well.
Foul on Julian Ringhoff, native of Germany. Played in Rochester last season, winning a championship. Cochran, left flank. Cochran wore the armband in Swope on Wednesday night with Rafa Castillo not playing. Rafa's back wearing the armband as the captain here this afternoon. Cochran said it was obviously a real honor to wear the armband, and you know, Jeff, you and I have looked at him throughout the season as one of the de facto captains of this team, and especially more so now in the absence of Josh Ford.
Absolutely, there's no doubt about it.
Tayou was looking to make the run, and Wachinski came out to intercept in his clearance back down to the San Antonio FC side of the field.
Again, though, Dan, I don't hate that chance there. That, again, just keep pushing it. This is where San Antonio does its best, is when they keep advancing and try and create those chances. It's frustrating when you're a fan of San Antonio FC and you kind of see them play the way they were playing right after Arizona scored, which is just kind of middling at midfield and not really getting anything going. If you've got a goal lead, sure, but when you're down one, I mean, what are you waiting for?
The one thing about Arizona is they score goals. 34 now on the season for them. So this is not a team like OKC Energy FC, which doesn't score a lot, plays more defensive,
Sure.
and tends to win games 1-0. Arizona's got some players who can put the ball in the back of the net even without Luke Rooney, who's not available today. Long Tan scoring his 9th. Tyler Blackwood's got 8. So this is a team that, you know, they can't be treated necessarily lightly from a defensive standpoint as they push into the San Antonio FC third of the field.
Absolutely. And when you talk about the back line and changes that have been made just based on injury and whatnot, I think that they've been playing enough together now that that shouldn't be too much of a factor, but it's different when you're taking on a good offensive team like Arizona versus other opponents like you mentioned the very best example, Oklahoma City, where 1-0 for them is just kind of like, wow, what a high scoring result for us.
Tyler Blackwood offside making the run. Blackwood is one of 3 English natives on the roster here. This is a very actually English-influenced team. Their head coach, Frank Yellop, who was actually a native of England, was born in England, moved to Canada at a young age, and he's probably one of the most experienced head coaches in the USL. 16 years of head coaching experience. most of those in Major League Soccer. He's won 2 championships there with LA Galaxy and San Jose. His first season now with Arizona United SC. So he's brought over Tyler Blackwood, Luke Rudy, and maybe the most notable English player, Peter Ramage, we mentioned, has over 60 games of Premier League experience.
Which goes to show you, as great as your players are individually, you need to get something more than just great individual play. I mean, Arizona on paper looks like a team that should be not only in the playoff hunt, but maybe towards the top. And instead, here's an under 500 team at 8-12-6.
One of the difference between Arizona United SC and, say, Seattle Sounders 2, who we saw a couple of weeks ago, is a much older veteran team.
Yes.
Average age about 26, 27 years old. Seattle Sounders FC2, the average age was about 22. These were all players kind of coming out of the academy that were getting some playing time playing on the reserve squad.
And
so
you
to
say
speak.
22 though, Dan, it's almost like there are 1 or 2 guys that kind of bumped that average up. It almost seemed like most of the players, especially when they were here, it was like a bunch of 19,
Might not have been
20-year-olds.
legal drinking age.
Right.
Set to hit the 21st minute. Toyota Field, 1-0. Arizona United SC. Opening goal scored in the 9th minute by Long Tan as Blackwood chased this one down onside. Tyler Blackwood into the box, delivers it to the top of the 6, and well defended there by Biko.
That is exactly how you defend that. That's what they were missing the last time when Tan was able to score. So good adjustment by San Antonio FC to get it right that time, and now trying to create something on their own.
Ball a little bit too long for Taylor
But I like
Morgan.
it.
Yep.
But I like it. Keep doing that.
That's the long ball game that San Antonio FC played against Arizona United the last time Arizona was here in August.
And especially on a night like this where you saw Tan be called offside 3 times before he gets that goal. Clearly, if there's anything that can be resonating in your mind as a player that says, maybe we should just keep at it, and then eventually a good result will happen for us. You saw it come from your opponent just a couple of minutes ago.
Sam McBride, his 16th start, 21st appearance for the rookie from Elon College. Biko turns into the opposite field, and Max Gunderson now making his 6th start of the season in place for the injured Milton Palacios. Looking for Taylor Morgan, who will track it down outside the box, trying to deliver one in, and it's deflected out of bounds at a corner, the first of the game for San Antonio FC.
How many times did we see that tried? Then you get the result. Now you've got a corner, and now you can try and get a goal.
So the bigger bodies, Biko, Taylor Morgan, Frank Tayu will line up outside the 6-yard box here as Rafa Castillo gets set to deliver this corner. Castillo bends one very deep, and it actually goes off goalkeeper Wachinski and over the net. Another corner will come up for Rafa Castillo.
He played that a little conservatively, Dan. I actually think that might have gone over on its own, but when it's that close and it's a 1-0 game, why take the risk? But San Antonio then gets another chance here.
A little shorter for Castillo this time, and it ends up going off Biko. Settled, Salazar, chance, Alvarez shot, great save! Wachinski robs Carlos Alvarez. Beautiful setup, though, by Miguel Salazar.
Everything went right there again. Take that and as a positive. You want the goal. Of course you want the goal, but now you have a 3rd straight corner, and this time going from a different direction. Maybe try something new here that Arizona hasn't seen from you.
Right-footed Alvarez bends this one deep back post and headed away from danger. Boy, Alvarez, that's got to be what opponents were feeling like, especially in St. Louis last Saturday against Matt Cardone, with how well he played in that game.
Absolutely. That is a stand-on-your-head kind of save right there, and those are key. But right now, San Antonio's the one that has all the momentum. It seems like we've seen the last couple of minutes all on the Arizona side of the field.
Look at that save again. Wachinski, outstanding to keep it 1-0 to this point. This is point blank from about 10 yards out as you could get.
No one did anything wrong. Just tip your cap to the goalkeeper and say, great job.
5 clean sheets on the season for Wachinski, so we'll try to jinx that one early. 24th minute here at Toyota Field, and Jeff, the good news is the sun has gone behind the clouds.
But on the jinx thing, do you think we should be more overt about it? Like, there isn't a way that this guy is going to let a goal in all game. I don't know.
IU with some good footwork, trying to hand back to Rafa Castillo. It's taken away. Trying to press forward here into the attacking third, Tony Castillo, who lost possession, and Alvarez will turn it back upfield for Taylor Morgan. Castillo now with San Antonio FC will switch ends. Cochran left flank. Slips it behind Antunes, and Wyszynski will come out and chase this one to the edge of the box.
Again, San Antonio doing some good things here. You're not going to connect on everything, but don't get disheartened. You're only in the 25th minute. It's a 1-0 game. It really should be 1-1. You take those as positives rather than negatives, because you know, player mentality, you could kind of maybe feel like maybe it's not our night, but there's still too many minutes left to be played in this game where you shouldn't be taking everything that's happened up until this point as a positive, because there have been a lot of positives.
San Antonio FC is 10th in the Western Conference in goals for 32, but their biggest strength, goals against. That goal allowed just the 28th of the season. They came into play 5th in the conference in goals against average. Castillo bends this one into the box, headed on, and just goes over. Sam McBride getting in there to get the head on that one and chasing Wyszynski back. But he let it go over the bar.
Another great opportunity. Don't look at it as a negative. Just be positive about it. Things are happening for San Antonio FC. And right now, if you're Arizona, you got to be thinking, man, can we get some of this momentum back? We're the team with the lead. And it feels like we're just have our back against the wall.
McBride scored in the Open Cup game against Des Moines. And of course, that win got San Antonio FC into the match against Houston Dynamo in round number 4. He has not scored in USL play this season. Gunderson working with Taylor Morgan. Combination is Gunderson unable to track it down before it crosses over the touchline, and a throw in for Arizona United.
All the momentum squarely for SAFC at this point. I think if you're Darren Powell, you're just yelling from the sideline, more of this. Or if this is going to give us a good result.
We're talking about, of course, the games in hand that San Antonio FC has against the teams chasing this last playoff spot. Quality of competition, too, also really favors San Antonio FC, as their next 4 games, including this one, are all against teams below them in the table. Just that last game of the season against Rio Grande Valley FC is a team that is in the playoff right now.
And that might be the thing, Dan. That might actually be a blessing in disguise. Who knows what's going to happen by the last game of the season, where maybe Rio Grande they can't move up, they can't move down. So why not just rest all of your key personnel and have them ready for the playoffs?
And there is that next home match as the hunt for the USL playoffs continues. Saturday at Toyota Field, San Antonio FC welcoming in St. Louis FC into town. It's a 7:30 kickoff. Tickets start at $10. They're available at sanantoniofc.com.
And you know St. Louis is going to want some revenge.
Jeff will have the call of that game. Told he might even be joined by Josh Ford, perhaps, doing some color. Wait and see on that one.
I think Josh said no when he found out it was me.
Injured San Antonio FC player down on the pitch is Carlos Alvarez. He's holding on to his left leg. He got tripped up. There was no foul on the play.
Well, the way he was grabbing his knee, Dan, that looked like it was going to be really, really bad. And then just now lobbying for a, hey, my knee didn't start feeling bad like this because I just fell down. But I guess if you're an SAFC fan, you just look at it and say, all right, we're happy with the fact that there's no injury there.
Don't forget to follow the team on social media for the latest news and updates. Twitter's at San Antonio FC, at Facebook, San Antonio FC, and Instagram, San Antonio FC. 29th minute here at Toyota Field, 1-0 Arizona United SC, scoring in the 9th minute of this game. Long Tan, his 9th goal of the season, assisted by Tyler Blackwood, who had, well, Jeff, he was really in contention for the Cy Young. He had 8 goals and no assists, so tack 1 into the right column there on the primary assist for Blackwood.
Right.
Foul here on United, and Daniel Antunes pushing a little too far and a little aggressive.
Well, things have been settled down. We haven't seen any sort of truly aggressive play, certainly no reckless play.
Nice run by Morgan as he delivers the ball, though, behind Frank Taiu. Clearance will be held in from about 35 yards out by Gunderson. San Antonio FC will reset here as they'll go back to the midfield. Sam McBride, dangerous play there with Nicky Salazar, as you had not only Casio, but of course Tan and Blackwood all looking to pounce there on perhaps a miscue. No damage done, and then Taylor Morgan called for the foul.
You know, the previous opportunity with Morgan missing Taiu, Dan, I think of the game of football, and not as it's called across the world, but here in the United States, football as the game of inches. I actually think soccer is more of a game of inches. I mean, Frank Taiu, if that's just, 2 inches closer to him, and all of a sudden you might have a better look at the goal than you had with Salazar and Alvarez.
Alvarez 2 inches right or left to the back of the net.
Absolutely.
Wachinski will deliver this all the way upfield, headed away by McBride. And we're going to get a foul. On the back was Blackwood of Sam McBride. So San Antonio FC will take over possession. As we're through 30 minutes. Final quarter hour of this first half. 1-0 Arizona United. SC with the lead.
Well, in the game of adjustments, one match to the other, Dan, I think of how great a game Greg Cochran had against Arizona the last time they were here. But in this game, Greg has had nowhere close to the same level of success against Arizona.
Popping it up is Gunderson. Taiu mistiming his jump. Cleared back ahead. Salazar on the ball. Cochran. Chased down there by Tan. Ranger coming up will return it back to Sam McBride. The San Antonio FC side of the field. Switch ends here now, back for Alvarez. A little more operating room on the right side with Gunderson. Salazar didn't like what he had, so he'll reset again. Patience displayed by San Antonio FC. Some footwork there by Taylor Morgan, creating space. Taiu trying to open up there inside on Ringhoff. It's been a battle all night there between Ringhoff, Morgan, and Ramage, veteran center back.
Well, Morgan and Taiu clearly trying to get something going with each other, because they've, especially Morgan, looking for Frank. So again, I absolutely applaud that from San Antonio's side. Look, it's created some good chances for you. Don't give up on it, even though it hasn't been successful yet.
They haven't played a ton together, but the two players that really have great chemistry, it looks like, is this one is bended in, settled down by Tan, and McBride will clear it away. But the two players I think have had great chemistry together are Frank and Jax Francois.
Absolutely.
So we'll see when Jax enters the game. But he had set up Frank for that opportunity in the 89th minute Wednesday night that I'd say 9 times out of 10 for Frank when that ball's on his right foot. It's a goal. Good overlapping run by Cochran here as he'll track this one down in the corner. Cochran delivers one short, but out to the top of the box where there was only Ringhoff there to play it.
Well, he was running out of room, was Greg, and when he crossed that to center, I think that he was expecting more guys to be advancing rather than just have Frank over there.
Tam with a nice overlapping run, setting up Tyler Blackwood. Blackwood trying to deliver a shot and blocked by Biko. Casio settling it back down. As Casio will reset, handing off to there Gavin. A lot of Major League Soccer experience for Gavin. Antunes. Granger goes deep into the box here, and nobody around Max Gunderson. Checked around him. He'll settle and make the smart play upfield. San Antonio FC here now on the counter. Gunderson with some room. He's got Morgan to his right. And Morgan gets around the challenge. Morgan into the box, delivers one, looking for Taiu, and Deflected away by Ringhoff will set up the fourth corner of the game for San Antonio FC.
Well, Frank's showing some frustration there, but just more frustration of why couldn't that come through. I don't think that he was upset with Taylor on that opportunity. It's just that, frankly, there were just too many defenders to try and really snake that one through.
Castillo from the corner will play this one into the box and parried away there by Wachinski. San Antonio FC will have the throw in from the opposite side.
So they make Rafa run all the way across the field to take the throw in. No one else was available? Okay, fair enough.
San Antonio FC has come up empty on their set pieces from the corner side here in this first half. Bobby Cochran will throw it in, headed away by Antunes and worked upfield. And Pico had this and settled down to Sam McBride. Sun trying to peek back through here at Toyota Field. 35th minute, 1-0. Arizona United SC with a lead over San Antonio FC. Almost a must-win for Arizona United for their playoff hopes as Taylor Morgan drops it back to Tayu, who's tripped up and will draw the foul and the free kick.
I was wondering if he was going to get that call, Dan. It looked for a second like they might let it go, and I think that's what Arizona's kind of maybe trying to get the ref's ear about. Just kind of like, well, you're kind of late on that call, so maybe we can convince you that you shouldn't have blown the whistle.
So the wall set up by Arizona United. Castillo and Alvarez again over the ball and about 25 yards or so out straight away. Alvarez bends one and again over the net. It's the second time San Antonio FC from about that distance has put it over the bar.
Dan, you say about that distance. If we could put an X on the spot where Castillo went for the same thing, except being on just the equal side of the far side of the field. I think those might have been nearly identical spots. I mean, like down to a centimeter.
And injured Arizona United SC player just outside the 18-yard box. Will allow everybody to go catch their breath here. It's Miguel Tim who is down, is being attended to by the United trainer.
Well, usually with these stops in play, Dan, that you'd have to say it helps one team versus the other. In this case, I think that you could look at San Antonio and say, look, they're the ones that are doing more things offensively, so they'd like to have the game keep going. But on the other hand, I think that they've been doing such a great job creating opportunities. I wonder how much juice is zapped from them collectively, where maybe this break in the action could help the team that's down 1-0.
The hunt for the USL playoffs continues next Saturday here at Toyota Field. San Antonio FC welcomes St. Louis FC into town for a 7:30 p.m. kickoff. Tickets start at just $10. They're available now. SanAntonioFC.com. And then after that game, San Antonio FC will go to Salt Lake City, Rio Tinto Stadium, where they will take on Rio Monarchs SLC. That might be the most interesting game left on the schedule based on where Real Monarchs is in the standings compared to San Antonio FC. And then the final 2 Saturdays of the year will be played in the state of Texas. Home on September 17th against Tulsa Roughnecks FC, and regular season concludes Saturday, September 24th, down in the valley at Rio Grande Valley FC.
And you look at all the games that are left in, I still think that by the time we get to September 24th at RGV, I just wonder if RGV is going to be in a position where they even need that game. So it really could come down to the result of the final home game here at Toyota Field against Tulsa more than the actual final game of this regular season.
And Tulsa went to Salt Lake City yesterday and tied Real Monarchs SLC. 1-1 game. Blackwood was deep post and well over the head of Long Tan. tracked down by San Antonio FC. We've had some extended stoppages in the first half here as we come upon the 40th minute. So we should get some added time at the end of this first half. And Arizona United, coming on the road in need of a win, has done what they needed to do, get that opening goal and put the pressure on San Antonio FC. Biko plays one in the direction of Taylor Morgan. He's unable to settle under the ball. Throw in for Arizona United.
The one thing, Dan, it will be interesting the last 6+ minutes of this half is, as you see on the field where the shadows are, that depending on where the ball is being advanced from, that could be to the detriment of the goalkeeper based on what side they're coming in, that all of a sudden a ball could be coming in from the shadows into the light. That should be a problem after we get through halftime, because I'd imagine that the shadows will be beyond both goals. But in these last couple of minutes, maybe it could be a factor.
Gunderson, Danny Garcia, Castillo, Cochran, and now Taylor Morgan right by the touchline. Morgan sets it back into the middle. Salazar. Castillo, swing back to the inside there as he's well defended by Blackwood. San Antonio FC will go back across midfield here. A lot of patience from this group here. And again, sometimes, you know, when they're down in a game, they're a little over anxious at times, but they're trying to let what Arizona brings to them come cleanly. As Garcia pitches one in top of the box and just over Frank Tayu's head, top of the 6-yard box, that is.
Great opportunities for SAFC in this first half, Dan. It just seems like, again, I hate to bring it back to the one goal that's been scored, but Tan offside 3 times in a row before he finally scores. It just kind of shows you that if you keep pressing, keep working at it, eventually you can get the result that you want.
Wazinski. As McBride pushes off, trying to head it away from Tony Cassio. It's a big week for Arizona United SC. They had an ownership change midweek that was announced. The new ownership that was brought in, headed by the gentleman who owns Kona Grill. We have a Kona Grill here in San Antonio.
Soon to be 2.
Yes.
And I only know that because I was at the mall that doesn't have one yet, but there's a sign, oh, it's coming.
So congratulations to Arizona United SC getting new ownership in place. A couple of minority investors in that group, including Brandon McCarthy, who's a current pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, but he used to be a pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks, so he's got some ties in the area.
Sure. And talk about a player famous for an injury. Brandon McCarthy was hit with a baseball, hit baseball, and was very, very significant injury. And one of those injuries in baseball, Dan, where you think maybe the guy can't come back because he has that, you know, feeling of fear that, you know, every subsequent hit could come right back at him, but has kept his major league career going. So congratulations to him.
Gunderson, nice ball. Alvarez, he scores! Carlos Alvarez, second time, puts it into the back of the net. We're tied at 1 at Toyota Field.
If you keep creating opportunities, eventually you're going to get the result that you want. We've seen San Antonio FC set it up this way a number of times in the first half. It has gone for naught. The game of inches where they just miss by an inch here or 2 inches there, that time perfectly set up, and they get the goal and tie this thing up at 1.
Second straight game Carlos Alvarez has scored against Arizona United SC. Great ball delivered by Max Gunderson, and Alvarez made no mistake about it.
And that is not an easy goal, too. That was a very good goal.
So this one comes in the 43rd minute. That is Carlos's 3rd goal. 11th and 12th points of the season. And Max Gunderson getting his first point with San Antonio FC with a primary assist on that goal.
Now you were inquiring, Dan, after the 7th minute of whether we would see an all defense, but I think both these teams now, probably, especially starting with this throw in here, maybe thinking, okay, it's not that we don't want to score, but we're going to play this very safely and get into the half with this game tied at 1.
Big goal late in the first half for San Antonio FC. It was their 17th goal scored in the opening half. This one will bounce down to Matt Cardoni, who's actually for the past 20-25 minutes or so had a pretty quiet half.
I'm wondering if he's run out of drink in his bottle just based on the number of times that he's been able to take a water break for the lack of action he's been seeing.
Tan a little aggressive. Foul on Cochran.
But Dan, one other thing to mention about that San Antonio goal, that's something through most of this season that they would just not get. They were not going to get a timely equalizer with enough time where basically it resets the game. That's the difference with this team offensively in the last month versus the months prior to last month.
Hopped in on Cardoni, and he'll sky to get it. Again, what we told you before, San Antonio FC, they have not won this season when conceding the first goal. They're 9-2-2 when scoring first, but they are 0-7-5, 5 draws when conceding that first goal. And a healthy sample size of 12 games here, and now the 13th. But once again, like they did Wednesday night at Swope, they've evened the game at 1. They just have to get ahead and then stay away from those costly errors in stoppage time. A substitute here coming on for Arizona momentarily. Late first half substitute, in fact, or excuse me, 2 minutes of stoppage time.
I was actually surprised, Dan. I thought that would be maybe 3 to 4 minutes just based on the stoppage that we got where everybody was able to take a water break. So
2 minutes of stoppage time have been added on. As we're even at 1 at Toyota Field. Goals by Long Tan in the 9th minute and Carlos Alvarez in the 43rd minute for San Antonio FC. Granger.
Now, it goes without saying, but the last thing that San Antonio wants to do is to give up a goal this late in the half, especially when they got the equalizer. So incumbent on them to try and change this up, and a great opportunity here to kill some time.
Tayuki, he tracked down this ball around Ringhoff. He cannot, and then runs over Julian Ringhoff. It'll be a foul, as Frank was, he had the step, but Ringhoff able to backpedal and protect the ball away from Tayu, and Frank Yellop on the Arizona United sideline. He perhaps wanted a card against Frank.
I think that's just two big bodies going at each other, Dan. And look, I mean, that's one of those one-on-ones, and somebody needs to win the ball, and tip of the cap to Arizona. They got that one.
As Wazinski will take his time here on the free kick. As we're approaching the end of the allotted 2 minutes added on here to the end of the first half. Granger, as both Blackwood and Tan make the run, and Biko getting to the ball first.
Biko's had a very good game so far, Dan. Very good.
That should just about do it here for the opening half. And that will indeed do it. As referee Patrick Muana with the whistle, and the first half is in the books here at Toyota Field. Arizona United SC got on the board first. Long Tan, his 9th goal of the season, scored in the 9th minute. Coming right back, Carlos Alvarez getting his 3rd goal of the season in the 43rd minute. And at the half, San Antonio FC and Arizona United SC are all even at 1. When we return, we'll sit down with San Antonio FC captain Josh Ford. Of course, Josh has come to Military City and embraced it, but he's got a pretty good military connection of his own. We'll talk to Josh as well as first half stats and highlights from Toyota Field. When we return, it's halftime at Toyota Field. San Antonio FC 1, Arizona United SC 1. We're back after this.
The heck is that? It's a chicken retreat. It provides a welcome shelter from the sun and rain.
A chicken what?
Retreat. Now we can have local natural chicken anytime we want.
Well, we can already have local 100% natural chicken anytime from H-E-B.
Where did you get this sweet anyway?
Funny story.
These guys are crazy. Mano made me do it.
H-E-B fresh local chicken from Texas Farms with no artificial ingredients or preservatives.
This is what we use to clean our engines. This is what we use to stay connected to our families and get us to our customers. It helps us save lives and simply makes life better. This is what we use to explore the open road and to keep our nation strong. Clean, quality fuels from Valero. When it comes to powering the American dream, this is what we use. Valero.
It's really quite simple. To see results, do the work. Focus on the goals. Push it to the limit hour after hour. That's how you rise to the next level. You can be a professional athlete or an insurance or financial professional, perfecting your shot or protecting your client's future. The rules are the same. It takes passion and dedication every single day. So when it's time, you will be ready.
Grab your tickets at SanAntonioFC.com.
Back at the half here at Toyota Field, San Antonio FC with a late first half goal, evening up Arizona United SC at 1 goal apiece. Well, San Antonio FC captain Josh Ford has, of course, not only embraced San Antonio, affectionately known as Military City, USA, in his first season with the club, but he has a very strong connection as his father was a member of the military, and Josh sat down and told us his story of what it was like growing up, military dad in his house.
The military father, it was definitely interesting. He always would trick us into doing certain things. Not really trick, it would just be give me 10 push-ups kind of deal. And somehow those 10 weren't good enough, and so you always had to do more and more. And for me, that translated into sports. You know, I mean, if I wanted to be better than other people, I had to put in the work. And I don't have a problem with doing that. And that was, I think, instilled by him. You know, he always was a working man and always, you know, pushing us to be better. My parents were both athletic. You know, my mom did track, my dad did football and other sports, and they knew what it took to be better than other people. And they knew that nothing was going to be given to us. Yeah, we could be talented and athletic and all that stuff, but if we didn't put in the work, it wouldn't really amount to anything. There's pictures of him through the West Point and all that kind of stuff, and him in his uniform, and then him with being in his sports uniform, wearing his jersey, and all those on posters and stuff like that. So, I mean, you know, it gives you a light of, you know, something to strive for when you're little, and you see your dad being on the West Point photos and, you know, good enough to be on the posters. You know, it makes you want to be better. My dad was like this with me. So how did you feel you played last night? He'd literally stick a hairbrush on our face and make us answer questions. He had to do that for like years. At first we kind of like brush it away and be like, okay, Dad, whatever. And then, you know, we'd start to answer questions because he'd persist and continually ask us questions about it. And as time went on, it'd still be kind of fun and joking around in the house and things of that nature, but getting into situations like this or getting asked questions after games, or to do interviews, it became easier. It's a testament to him and, you know, pushing us to be better, like I said. It was a partnership between him and my mom. I got a lot of good things from both of them. I wouldn't say one was better than the other, per se. It was just, my mom was really happy and nurturing. And my dad was more of a, like, stickler, get stuff done. And so it was a good combo. And, you know, as we got older, he showed more nurturing side, and, you know, now I like to call him one of my really good friends, you know, one of my best friends, because, you know, as a parent, there's a different discrepancy of where you are as a child and where you are as a parent, at least in my household. And, you know, I definitely value that a lot as growing up, and they're great role models for me. Being named captain to a squad of guys like this, and then being in a military city is also, like, you know, it's a great accomplishment. I told my dad that, and he was like, "You're gonna be great, you know, you've been a captain before, and, you know, I don't see you having a problem trying to lead the guys in the right direction." And, you know, that meant a lot coming from him. Being able to wear that crest definitely is powerful. You know, it gives it more meaning than just being a club. You know, the fans all represent, you know, the club and stuff like that, but to be able to represent also military branches and the idea behind it is definitely, gives you a little bit more power, you know, idea of that. You give more strength and stuff like that to go ahead and put yourself out there on the line for the field and for the cause.
Josh Ford, who has, of course, been nothing but a class act in his first season here in San Antonio, and a little bit behind the scenes with him and his family. Of course, the connection to Military City, USA, here at the half. We'll take a break. When we return, Jeff rejoins me in the booth. We'll take a look at first half stats, highlights, and maybe the weather a little bit, too. As flags are blowing hard at Toyota Field. It's halftime. We're even at 1. Back with more after this.
When it needs to be ultra exciting, high flying, non-stop action, San Antonio FC Soccer's got you covered. When it needs to be high performing, hard working, high tech, super safe, built for comfort, and surprisingly affordable, Holt Cat has got you covered. With best-in-class cat heavy equipment, engines, generators, and more, plus legendary service and support, and the largest parts inventory and distribution network in Texas. Kick it into high gear with Holt Cat.
Here you go.
Can't wait to see what this baby can do. Thank you. Good morning.
You remember my parents' anniversary?
During Toyota's annual clearance event, get $3,000 customer cash. Or qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 72 months on a new 2016 Camry. Toyota. Let's go places.
What's up with the boat?
Trainers want us to eat more seafood, so we got us a fishing boat.
And now we're working on the name. I like Monterey.
Or Timtanic.
Hook, line, and sinker. Why not? Got it. The Sharkus.
How about the H-E-B oven-ready seafood meals that you can enjoy in minutes without the hassle of fishing?
Seems too long for a boat name.
H-E-B's new oven-ready seafood meals, all ready in minutes.
When do you have time to make signs?
Celebrate the season right with Stars Basketball and Family Fun Day. Every Saturday and Sunday home game presented by News 4 and Fox 29. Ticket and food packages start at just $13. Head over to sastars.com for more info. Season presented by Krista Santa Rosa Health System and H-E-B.
Grab your tickets at sanantoniofc.com.
Stretched out out to the middle. Back to Green.
Broke it up. There's a shot. They score! They score!
Gerardo Fords. Hey, it's in! Rochester has the lead. And again, it's St. Louis.
Some excel because they're destined to. Most excel because they are determined to. They set out to outperform, outwork, out-hustle, outthink, and innovate. That's how you become outstanding at what you do. It doesn't matter if you're running a team or running a business. Prepare like no one else, and when you get the opportunity to excel, you'll be ready.
For anything.
Every mile is a possibility, a chance for victory, and financial success. Every mile is an opportunity to get closer, or much, much farther away. Every mile counts, and high-quality gasolines from Valero clean and keep your engine working its best through all of them. Valero.
Any question before we make jalapeno poppers?
Why is the Marcus dressed like that?
Jalapenos are spicy, man. Gotta protect.
Why do they take so long to make?
Paris was not built in a day.
That was wrong.
Whatever.
Can I use my own knife?
No.
My oven mitt's too small.
That's not a question.
Why don't we just buy H-E-B jalapeno poppers? They're made by hand with cream cheese and thick sliced original bacon.
That sign doesn't say cooking with Timmy.
H-E-B jalapeno poppers. We make them so you don't have to.
Grab your tickets at SanAntonioFC.com.
Back here at the Havit Toyota Field, San Antonio FC, Arizona United SC, all even at a goal apiece. Second half just moments away. Let's take a look at our first half highlights, Jeff, and Arizona United SC getting on the board early in this one.
And that was after 3 straight offside calls against Tan, but finally comes through. And again, I've said it a million times before, if you keep working, even though you're not getting the result that you want, eventually it's going to happen for you, and that was a prime example of that.
San Antonio FC had their best chance earlier in the half when Carlos Alvarez was denied on a great save by Carl Wazinski. Wazinski reaching out to his right with a right hand to parry that one away. But eventually San Antonio FC would counter on the through ball by Gunderson, would find Alvarez, who would not miss a second time. That came in the 43rd minute, and that evened the game at a goal apiece. And that's where we are here as we get ready to start the second half of play.
I think if you're Darren Powell, the head coach of San Antonio FC, you tell your guys at the half, we could just as easily be up 2-1 in this game. So let's keep doing the things that we are doing. Let's not get complacent. Let's get our 3 points and continue our path to making the playoffs.
Here's the update as far as the weather in the area is concerned. As you can see, it's kind of ominous around Toyota Field right now.
Should we have some music like you get in the nightly news?
I'm looking for.
Let's go to Dan Weiss
I'm
and the
looking for
AccuWeather
radar. There's the flag. The wind has picked up, gusting now to about 20 miles an hour. There are actually 2 lines of thunderstorms that are both off to the southeast of us, but literally, Jeff, both are moving right, I guess, around Toyota Field. One's on the right side, one's on the left side. So they literally, I think, will both miss Toyota Field. We just had a little rain come down seconds ago, but I think the heavier stuff, the more menacing stuff that could potentially delay this game, that looks like it will not affect us, at least for now.
Well, we'll see. And when you say a little bit of rain, in terms of quantity, yes, but when it actually passed over and it was raining, it was a pretty heavy rain that actually a lot of people, if you're looking out into the crowd right now, a lot of people I think are still under the stands just to make sure why get rained on until the game starts again. But as quickly as it started dumping rain, it has quickly stopped, and I don't know if we'll see any more precipitation through the rest of this match.
So we'll see whether weather becomes a factor, weather becomes a factor here as we go forward in the second half of play. San Antonio FC and Arizona United SC all even at a goal apiece.
And Dan, I'll be very curious to see when we'll see our first substitutions of this match. You mentioned Francois and the continuity he seemingly has. I'm wondering, though, if he would come in for the man that you were talking about, Frank Taiu, or if it would be for a guy like Taylor Morgan. Just how is Darren Powell going to play this? And that all is incumbent on what the score is at the time. So who's going to score the next goal, or will we even see another goal in this match?
That rain's starting to come down a little bit again here now as we get set to kick off in the second half. Numbers in that first half of play: 5 shots total for San Antonio FC, 2 for United, 2 on target for San Antonio FC, 1 for United, 1 save for Carl Wazinski in the net as we are underway. Second half from Toyota Field, along with Jeff Sheen, our entire crew, Dan Weiss, as San Antonio FC looking to punch their ticket into the postseason in their inaugural campaign, and a win would go a long way to doing so here on this early Sunday evening.
We'll see how the rain plays this out. We see our supporter groups, they're not going anywhere, but a lot of other fans here gonna head under the stands for a little bit and see if this passes through.
Yeah, it's coming down pretty good, just kind of as it was, as you mentioned a few minutes ago.
I'd keep playing. I don't think the heavy stuff is going to come down for quite some time.
I think that as long as it's just rain and not torrential, right, with lightning, we should be okay. Casio gives it a go, and it's wide as he takes it from outside the box, but it appeared to be deflected on its way through. It'll be a corner for Arizona United SC, their first one of the game. San Antonio FC had 4 in the opening half.
Well, as I look to the San Antonio FC sideline, Dan, I guess Darren Powell has a direct link into your mind, or at least maybe has the broadcast in his ear, because Francois is now starting to get warmed up, and maybe he'll be the first substitution that we see, at least from the SAFC side.
Miguel Tip will take the corner, native of South Africa. Right foot will play it deep into the box and headed away as Biko.
Bradnock Brennan has had a fantastic game so far. And a great job there by Taylor Morgan to keep pressing at that ball, which makes the Arizona defender have to kick it out. And now we get a throw in for San Antonio.
Morgan, as he's holding off Brandon Poltronieri. San Antonio FC will play on here in the attacking third. Gunderson delivered the ball for Carlos Alvarez's goal late in the first half. Garcia getting around Poltronieri. Garcia, left-footed, bends this one in the direction of Taylor Morgan. That got hung up in the wind there, Jeff.
Certainly
as it
did.
died and fell harmlessly back to Wazinski.
every single player from both sides was advancing, thinking that was going to carry a lot further because it should have. And then everybody started to run towards the ball as it just got hung up in that wind.
Blackwood trying to make the run across back into the San Antonio FC third of the field as Cochran with a clearance, and now Tan just outside the box drops it for Casio, but the offside flag, what else, goes up for Long Tan for the 5th time in this game.
But again, in addition to those offside calls, and now we'll see one against Frank Tayu, in addition to those offside calls, that also led to a goal. So I think that you keep doing what worked for you, because it hasn't prevented, I'm saying this for both sides, it hasn't prevented you from making a huge mistake. Or I should say, Dan, that hasn't created a huge mistake either side that they came back to regret.
Foul on Casio and a free kick, San Antonio FC. Mentioned at the top, both these teams play high line on their back end, and it usually leads to not only a lot of runs, but as we've seen today, a lot of offsides on both sides. Tan will work possession away from Biko. We'll get it back from Miguel Tim. Ultranieri send one right on net, and Cardoni clean catch.
Nice switch there by San Antonio FC. That one just gets very easy pickup for Cardoni.
And other than the goal, Jeff, he did not see a shot on target in that first half, so no saves technically to this point for Matt Cardoni.
No.
The reigning USL Player of the Week. 7 saves for his 3rd shutout in 8 starts last Saturday night in St. Louis, including his 2nd penalty save. And boy, you talk about getting hung up in the wind.
Yeah.
As he tried to clear that one well out. He was fortunate to pop down to Danny Garcia, who was able to settle under.
Well, you want to talk about the weather affecting the way that you play. That's something that both sides are going to have to look at significantly. I mean, if you can't really make it happen on the long ball, you've got to find a way to punch it in, just more trying to win one-on-one matchups. So that could drastically change the way that these guys are going to play.
That's exactly what Danny Garcia was trying to do there, trying to play one on the pitch rather than put one up into the air. It was easily cleared away from danger by Arizona. A draw is obviously a lot more beneficial to San Antonio FC than it is to Arizona United SC at this point as far as playoff lives are concerned. Morgan tried to send Cochran on the run. Ball was knocked aside. Now Tim. And too far ahead this time of Tyler Blackwood. Bounce harmlessly down to Cardoni.
And you kind of have to wonder, was there more zip on that pass, Dan, because of the wind, where that carried much further than he was anticipating?
Well, the wind was to his back there. Yeah. So if there was zip, it was helped along by the wind. Morgan. Tayu now. Turns to the inside. Switches ends to Gunderson with some room here in the attacking third. Danny Garcia and Castillo as they'll reset up. Tayu back to Castillo. Castillo from his spot puts it offside. Carlos Alvarez and Frank Tayu take your pick there. But well set up. I think, interestingly enough, Jeff, that's almost an area where Rafa Castillo usually shoots from.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. It's very close, right? You have the offside call there, but that was reminiscent of Arizona's goal, almost in the exact same spot. So I think you keep working in that way, and eventually that's going to create a result for you.
Foul on United, and San Antonio FC with a free kick here in the 52nd minute. Gunderson, as he's watched by Tim, will return it back to Biko. The sun's starting to peek back out again here as the rain has subsided. Again, no menacing weather, at least for now, directly on top of Toyota Field. Casio for Long Tan. Gavin Nice piece of footwork by Tanver Cassio, and again well defended by Biko, although Gavin ends up back with the ball. Poltronieri delivers one into the box. Tan! Oh, and he put it over and wide of the crossbar.
And Cardoni getting in the ear of his back line. Didn't like the job that they did there, and frankly, if not for the Tan misfire, that's as high percentage of chance as you're going to have, especially the way that it seems like both teams are now going to play it, Dan, because they know that they can't really extend with the series of long passes.
A good ball delivered into the box there by Brandon Poltronieri, 30-year-old defender who played last season in Ottawa. Ottawa's actually been the subject of some rumors playing in the North American Soccer League, whether or not they would return to the North American Soccer League next season.
Right.
Would they join USL?
Well, that's one of those things is here in the United States, there are soccer fans that are just so adamant about their feelings, not only about Major League Soccer, but the NASL. I mean, there are some diehard NASL fans. So you see a city like Ottawa where maybe they come to the USL, and that creates a lot of discussion about what league should be second and which one should be third. And, you know, there's just, I hate to use the word politics, especially in a presidential election year, but there does seem to be a lot of politics to this stuff.
Very political, especially in a system that's different from Europe where there's no promotion or relegation between the divisions. United Soccer League is publicly making a campaign to move to second division status.
I wonder if that will come up in the next presidential debate. I want to talk about getting a blank look from both candidates. The what?
Off the miscue, Carlos Alvarez going the other way. Nice counter for San Antonio. The through ball by Rafa Castillo. It's a little bit too far beyond Frank Tayu's right foot.
Again, if you can keep setting those up, good things should happen for you. And in that case, Rafa with a little bit too much zip on it, which is kind of funny because we've seen how many times with the wind at their faces that seemingly it's slowed down what San Antonio FC would like to do. But in that case, that was not the case.
Hard challenge by Cochran on Poltronieri, who goes down on the pitch. And excuse me, it was Gunderson, not Cochran, rather. Poltronieri comes up, and we'll see if Gunderson will be awarded a card, and it looks like he will be.
Yeah, I think in this case, Dan, we've seen a very clean game so far, and maybe more important than that play itself is the officials letting it be known that in this last 30-plus minutes that isn't going to devolve into something else just based on the weather, maybe changing the way that we see the play in this half versus what we saw in the first.
Gunderson is handed a yellow card. It's his second of the season. Luke Rooney not playing today for Arizona United SC. His 6 goals because of 8 yellow cards that he has accumulated over the course of this campaign. Big loss for Arizona's offense. Free kick for United here, and a set piece in a dangerous spot. Gavin takes it, bends it into the box, and Cardoni will sky to it at the 6 and bring it down.
Advantage San Antonio with the wind in that case. I think it sailed on him a little bit, and with the hook to that kick, it just safely and clearly ends up in the hands of Matt Cardoni.
Antunes. And Blackwood trying to make the run, but the wind at the back of Arizona United SC, so as much as it's playing havoc on San Antonio FC as they're trying to play the long ball a little bit as well for Arizona United SC the other way. Antunes playing with some real estate off in the corner, and the ball skitters on the byline, and be a free kick awarded, a goal kick to Matt Cardoni.
Good effort there by Greg.
'58th minute at Toyota Field. Substitutes getting warm on both ends Waiting our first substitute. Sean Chin and Jax Francois both returned to action on Wednesday night in Kansas City. Castillo. Gunderson. Taiu. Nice footwork to Morgan. Return ball. Taiu upended in the box. Play on, says the referee. Castillo works it back to McBride. Almost a dangerous ball, and then one gets away from Sam. And a throw in. And here again, Jeff, you be the judge on the foul on Taiu or the no foul.
This one's close. This one's close. Nice touch there by Morgan. Oof. That one's tough. I actually thought that we were going to see a call. I was curious of whether it would be called in or outside the box. And instead, it doesn't get called at all, which is kind of a strange thing after the yellow card a little bit earlier against Gunderson.
The offside flag goes up this time on Tyler Blackwood. He was a little mystified. Alvarez quickly on the counter, and San Antonio FC's got a little operating room over on the far side of the field, as they'll quickly move here into the Arizona United SC third of the field.
Yeah, Morgan's calling for it here on the near side, but I just think that the way that the wind is playing with the ball, Dan, I mean, he might as well be standing in Oklahoma right now for as good a chance of the ball arriving at his feet safely.
Good challenge, takes the ball away from Garcia, and there were numbers going the other way with Blackwood and Tam, but again, that wind helped that ball come right down harmlessly to Matt Cardoni.
It's kind of interesting, Dan. You would think that when the wind is at your face, that would be the disadvantage, but when you're trying to set guys up.
It's Blackwood onside, a chance, buried away. Cardoni cut off the angle. Denies Tyler Blackwood. It's the first save for Matt Cardoni officially in this game, and a pretty good chance from Blackwood.
Well, he had some heat on this kick. Matt obviously going with the dive, but I got to tell you, Dan, if that went in, I think that would have been a pretty soft goal on Matt Cardoni. So getting the job done there, but it does set up the corner kick for Arizona.
Second of the game, second of the half for them. This Poltronieri will come over here to take it. Went short side on that shot. Coming from the angle, had the whole back post open if he wanted, but easily read. Poltronieri deep into the box, headed on. Cardoni save, ball loose. Stepping up, Tim, and blocked away.
Great job by Greg Cochran there. And out of the two saves that Cardoni had, the last two, I actually thought that second one was more impressive because it was in the crowd.
Now Cardoni's got to go after this one, and again parries it away from two United white jerseys. Another throw in for United, and this is about as most sustained pressure as they've had all match. Poltronieri for Tim. Tim pops one into the box. Settled down by Blackwood, and it'll land in the direction there of Danny Garcia, who will clear it away from danger.
Good job by Danny Garcia there, and Dan, perfect way to phrase it, because you feel like the danger lessens as he got it all the way out to midfield.
We will see our first substitute here, as it will come for Arizona United SC. Christian Silva, fifth-year midfielder from Tampa, will come on in place of Miguel Tim, as Fajiro is also getting warmed up here and getting ready to come in. So Miguel Tim, who just had that last scoring chance blocked aside, he comes out with Carlos Silva, or Christian Silva rather, coming into the match. And now Fajiro is going to come on in place of Taylor Morgan for San Antonio. So the Silva substitute by Frank Yellop is matched by the Fajiro substitute for Taylor Morgan by Darren Powell. Another good game for Taylor Morgan here this afternoon.
Yep, very good. And you know, he's probably an inch or two away from having at least an assist in this game, and maybe for that second goal for San Antonio FC. So overall solid game for Morgan.
Arizona United will keep this one alive. Casio sending it back in the direction of Tyler Blackwood, but it'll be tracked first by Danny Garcia. Castillo trying to fight his way through, will draw a foul. A free kick. So Fajiro, who scored Wednesday night at Swope Park Rangers, scoring his second goal of the campaign. Delivering on the set piece. He's racing after this long ball delivered by Rafa. Carl Wazinski will get to it first.
Just goes to show you when you make those substitutions how that speed can really be a factor. Fajiro just running all over the place and putting a little extra heat on the goalie as well.
Some words actually between Brandon Poltronieri and Long Tan on that last ball that was not delivered cleanly, as Tan yelled back at Poltronieri, and Poltronieri was upset. He was expecting Long Tan to go a different direction on the run, and it ended up being picked off.
Well, it's a little edginess out on the pitch right now, I think, for both sides, and not only towards each other, but even teammates going at it.
Well, I think both sides recognize the importance of the game at this point, particularly Arizona United SC, who almost desperately needs a win to try to keep their playoff hopes alive. Only 3 games left for them after this one.
And Dan, I'll throw this on top of the pile as well. Don't dismiss the weather also being a factor. All of a sudden you got to play in this, and the wind is affecting your ability to reach guys that you're trying to connect with. And this is a very different half than what we saw in the first 45 minutes.
Headed along by Antunes, and a foul as he was on the back of Danny Garcia. Rafa Castillo, as Fajiro looks to make the run. Nice ball. Fajiro will settle it in the corner and then lost it. But a free kick looked like is going to be awarded. A foul called on United on Poltronieri, who's letting the assistant know how he feels.
I don't know if there was actually a foul call, Dan, as opposed to that they felt that it went off of Fajiro and it was right in front of the ref on the line. All right, stand corrected. They are going to give him a kick. You're absolutely correct. There was a foul call there.
So essentially a corner kick here for Rafa Castillo.
But with the wind, who knows how this goes.
Rafa bends it deep and parried away. Nicely done by Carl Wazinski, sending it to the opposite corner. That one was bending back in, and Wazinski, to a point, he almost overtracked it there.
Well, I think you look at his first big save that came against Alvarez. That's got to stand at the top, but that one was also a very, very impressive save, keeping his team out of danger.
Garcia settles under it. Cochran switches ends. Fajiro, the flag goes up. Here's a look again, Jeff, at the corner, or the foul from the corner for Rafa Castillo.
Well,
Essentially
we'll
a corner. Wazinski, nicely done out there with the left hand to knock it away from danger.
And the confidence, it was almost like he caught it as his arm was moving through it. It almost kind of looked like a baseball pass, Dan, that, you know, he was able to maneuver it to where he wanted to get it out of the way rather than just kind of slap it out and just kind of get that bounce off of the hand. So it's a very soft hands on that save.
Castillo, but they'll call a handball here against Blair Gavin. And then Miggy Salazar trying to get that ball out of Gavin's hands. Gavin discusses with the referee. Free kick for San Antonio FC. And Patrick Moana telling Rafa to be a little further back than you wanted it.
Well, I think Gavin got what he wanted there, because that ball was pushed further back than where the foul was originally called, and you saw that San Antonio FC, especially with Miggy's efforts there, they wanted to get moving rather than allow Gavin to make his entire pitch to why that shouldn't have been called in the first place.
Over the top, Brock Granger skying for that ball. Both players go down. Garcia and Granger right at the center midfield line. We'll see whether either requires any medical attention here at this point. But that was Brock Granger going again over the top of the smaller Danny Garcia. And when I say smaller, Danny Garcia is listed at 5'5". It appears that both players are okay at this point, and it looks like it will be the ball awarded to a free kick for San Antonio FC.
Yeah, Arizona's not excited about that, but I actually think it is the right call.
He goes as the, I guess, player, the attacking player per se on that ball rather than the defender. It's almost like a tie goes to the runner scenario where the defender in a collision like that, he's probably going to lose on that 9 times out of 10.
You're right, yes. And I think it was just the collision that both players went down hard, where I think that's where Arizona was coming from and expecting maybe to get the benefit of the doubt on that call. But I think that was the right one. What will be most interesting is we've seen kind of the way that this thing has changed and kind of trying to win one-on-one matchups and kind of advance the ball that way rather than try and go long with the kick, because in the case of San Antonio, the wind catches the ball up. In the case of Arizona, it carries further than they want. Just whether we'll get a certain level of chippiness. We've seen a little bit more aggressiveness. We've seen a lot more talk to the ref. But will that, as we get closer and closer to the finish here, are we going to start to get some chippiness, a little bit of cheap shots as this gets closer and closer to a final result?
Peter Ramage. Poltronieri, Gavin challenged by Fajiro, who works the ball away. Possession for San Antonio. Carlos Alvarez, the goal scorer for San Antonio FC in the 43rd minute, his 3rd of the season and 2nd against Arizona United SC this year.
Pajero's brought some good energy since coming onto the pitch, and he definitely wants the ball. It seems like he's trying to set things up almost by going to his teammates to set something up for himself. And as you mentioned last week, Dan, based on the result that he got there and the fact that he's got more energy than any of his teammates, it seems like a pretty smart play on his behalf.
Gavin's been very active here in the second half for United, trying to get that one through to Tony Cassio. And again, well played by Biko Bradnock-Brennan, who, again, Jeff, he's really brought an excellent game this afternoon.
Dare I say, best game that he's played all season?
It's up there for sure.
20 minutes, 20 plus minutes left in this game, but so far, if it was going on the first 71, I would actually say it would definitely be his best game.
Poltronieri's onside. Defended by Gunderson. Poltronieri into the box with a step. Poltronieri looking to deliver, and it's broken up. Christian Silva, who just came on for Miguel Tim moments ago. Gavin bends one into the box, headed away by Sam McBride.
Good job there by Sam.
And Tunez will keep it alive on the far end. Once again, Blair Gavin creating things from the midfield for Arizona United. We're into the 72nd minute, so approaching the final quarter hour of the match. Alvarez works it away. Now San Antonio FC on the counter. Garcia. Castillo with some space. Can he settle? He can. He got run over by Long Tan, who will get a card for his actions. The yellow card delivered to Long Tan, his 2nd of the year.
Pretty obvious call for right there, Dan. And I also want to look at before that was actually called. Here's an example of how the wind can affect it, because when Garcia has the ball there, he could have gone long. If wind wasn't a factor, he could have gone longer to the near side and tried to pick up Pajero, but instead he had to go a little bit closer to Rafa, which then causes that play.
See if San Antonio FC can take advantage here as the ball is deflected out of bounds. Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow @Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. As we'll get another substitute coming in, it is the veteran Chris Cortez coming on here as he will take out the goal scorer, Long Tan, here in the 73rd minute. Chris Cortez, who also delivers some offense with 6 goals, 15 points on the season, making his 21st appearance in the lineup. He's had some success playing for OC Blues, and another striker up front here for Arizona who knows they need a goal.
And to that point, Dan, it looks like that the next substitution for San Antonio FC, here's another goal scorer coming into the game.
Sean Chin going to make his way on the pitch for Danny Garcia here momentarily. Now, Sean Chin got injured in the game in Houston in the Open Cup back in June. He was originally deemed lost for the season, but in talking with Darren Powell in the couple of weeks after that, you saw Sean kind of already up moving around, and I asked him, I said, is it possible we could see him before the season is done? And he said he thought it was slightly possible. He didn't think it was going to happen. And then all of a sudden, Sean Chin returns to the lineup and the availability last week in Kansas City and gets a nice round of applause as he comes on for Danny Garcia. It's his first match here at home, Jeff, going back to the early part of June.
Yeah. I just think about how long ago it was since you and I were sitting next to each other in Houston for that Open Cup game, of how much soccer we've seen from this team. I guess it's enough time where you think, all right, well, maybe Sean Chin had enough time to get ready, but you're right, under the circumstances in which he got hurt, there wasn't a single person the following week that thought that he would come back for this season. So even though it has been quite some time, not enough when you look at the initial feelings of just how significant his injury was.
Rafa Castillo got wrapped up by Julian Ringhoff. It'll be looks like a yellow card awarded to Ringhoff as the referee reached into his pocket. He's holding onto the card, and he will award Julian Ringhoff with his 4th yellow card of the season. And a free kick, a dangerous spot here for San Antonio FC in the 75th minute of this game.
Well, you got Tayu that's still out there. We know his ability to score. You've got an energized Fajero and Sean Chin. This is a good opportunity here for San Antonio.
So it'll be Alvarez who will take the free kick. Castillo, Tayu, McBride, Biko, all in the box. Delivered on and headed away from danger. And that was Peter Ramage, the veteran, knocking that one away like a veteran center back will do. Ringhoff still is a little mystified by the card. It's a pretty good tug, if you ask me. Alvarez will try again, this time on the corner, the 5th one of the match for San Antonio. Bends this into the box and headed away. And Tyler Blackwood off to the races, and he's got some numbers here if he can move quickly. Blackwood with space into the San Antonio FC attacking third. Cochran will meet him over to the far side.
Great transition defense there by San Antonio FC, Dan. You had players that were collapsing onto the ball, and then you had other guys filling in and clogging up lanes and marking their men. So just as good, when you look at the break where it started, that's as good a job getting back as you're going to see.
You're into the final quarter hour of the match, 77th minute now. Still even at 1. Although a much more even second half, at least as far as possession goes, and maybe even slight edge to Arizona, perhaps.
You'd have to say so, especially if you're going to do a comparative to the first half, where San Antonio seemingly had it on the Arizona side for most of that half. It was actually kind of remarkable that when you look at just the total time of possession, that Arizona had an opportunity to try and score a goal. Yet they did, which is why we're tied at 1.
Silva, as he works it back. Rock Ranger. He's looking in the direction of Cortez, big striker at 6'2".
A lot of offensive firepower for both teams right now, Dan. So, you know, you mentioned before, and I agree with you, that Arizona in far more need of 3 points than San Antonio, but if San Antonio, I think that the way they're looking at it, especially getting the win on the road in St. Louis last week, I think the way they're looking at it is, look, we're not happy for a point that keeps us in contention. We want the 3 that puts us in the driver's seat to guarantee a spot.
Well, the one drawback from a draw, Jeff, is that the first tiebreaker when it comes to clinching a playoff spot is wins in USL play, which San Antonio FC right now loses to OC Blues.
Sure.
OC Blues has 10 wins and San Antonio FC has 9. Thus, when you look at the table, even though they're even in points, OC Blues is ahead of San Antonio FC.
And that's what I was talking about before, about you look at San Antonio with another game that they can play. They can just get a draw in another game, and that's how they can break through against Orange County.
Matt Cardoni was dangerously close to picking that ball up outside of the box. He may indeed have done just that. Everybody in a white jersey came out to say that. Now, Greg Cochran is coming over here asking for an appeal, but it is not going to happen. And a yellow card to the goalkeeper, Matt Cardoni. So Cardoni plays it outside the 18-yard box with his hands. It was awfully close. So, free kick here for Arizona United SC just outside the box. Take a look at it again here, Jeff.
And
his hands are inside the box. The ball, though, is over the line and outside the box.
Yeah.
So right on the edge of the 18 for Arizona United.
You so rarely see that, let alone called, but just rarely that situation develop or to be called, that I'm actually surprised that the official was even thinking about that potential call.
Now here's a dangerous opportunity as Christian Silva steps to the ball. Silva with a shot, and it's knocked away in front. And a corner coming up here for Arizona United.
Carlos Alvarez has had such a good game, especially offensively, Dan, but they're saving a chance.
Silva was looking to score.
Absolutely.
He wasn't looking to set somebody up there. And Silva now will take the corner. Third of the game, third of the half here for Arizona United SC. Silva plays this one to the back post, headed on, but wide by Ringhoff. Out of bounds, free kick.
No.
For Matt Cardoni.
What do you think, Dan?
Kick.
Maybe the wind's there? Maybe being a factor again? I mean, it's not as strong as it was, but still, that was kind of, when you consider the danger of the previous play, that one certainly lacked the danger of the one right before it.
Cardoni's clearance will get hung up a little bit in the wind going the other way, although San Antonio FC able to settle under the ball. Cochran. Salazar. Greg, who's probably had to play a little bit more defensive today because the other holding midfielder that would normally be in the starting 11, Sebastian Terrier, is on international duty. There's a nice ball here for Carlos Alvarez into the box. Oh, and he just set it over the crossbar.
He wanted that one all the way. There was no look to see what else was around him. He was going to try and make this the Carlos Alvarez offensive show and be responsible for both goals.
Here comes another substitute. Sam Garza will come into the game for Tony Cassio. And Jax Francois is getting, Jason Johnson is getting loose here and getting ready to come in as well. Looks like he's going to come in for Frank Taillou.
Yeah. We've talked about the weather a lot in the second half, Dan. Another one of the things, just even the boards that they're using to announce substitutions, they're not using the electrical ones because of the rain. So a little old school, maybe something that you would see when you played your high school games or even college.
A United player down. That looks like the center back Peter Ramage, who awkwardly fell don't believe he was fouled.
I don't think there was anybody near him,
I think he
actually.
just got the wind knocked out of him the way he headed that one away. I think he was falling backwards and hit the pitch a little hard. A lot of miles under those legs. Peter Ramage, 32 years of age, 13th professional season. Here comes Jason Johnson on into the match for Frank Taiu. And this has become more of a normal trend for Jason Johnson. A late game substitute in the last 10 minutes or so, perhaps to give you one last burst of energy here to try to get a difference-making goal.
He's got the speed, he definitely has the size, and we've seen his ability to score goals earlier in the season. So it seems like the natural progression, if you're going to substitute one guy just to get a more energized version, JJ coming in for Frank the Tank definitely meets that standard.
So this one is brought in by Wazinski. A poor ball by Poltroneri is taken away by Fajiro. And now Johnson, as he turned upfield, was trying to send Rafa off to the races, knocked away. Cochrane will maintain possession here. 84th minute at Toyota Field, all even at 1. San Antonio FC have a late goal in them.
Yeah, Arizona just forced San Antonio to do something that they should not want to do at this point in the game, and that's try and go back to Matt Cardone and have him send it long to create an offensive chance. I mean, just the wind works against them too much.
Good challenge by Poltroneri, strips Fajiro of the ball. Silva upfield. As trying to make a play was Garza. San Antonio FC will take over possession. Fajiro gets bumped from Poltroneri, but they play on. Blair Gavin. The challenge by Fajiro strips Gavin of the ball, and Johnson takes it away. Johnson, as he's challenged, and Ringhoff wins the ball.
Great job by Ringhoff there.
Now Antunes up the right flank. Settles back here. Set up. Garza. Oh, I don't think he saw Fajiro coming from behind.
He definitely didn't. And bad job by his teammates not to let him know.
Now Johnson stays on side. Wazinski comes out to play it and easily sends it away from any potential danger. The throw in for San Antonio FC here. And we really haven't had a lot of stoppages in the second half, Jeff, so potentially limited stoppage time here. Johnson.
Yeah, at this point, I think you might get one, maybe.
It's Ringhoff. The clearance.
San Antonio needs to press here.
Gunderson to the outside. Gunderson, oh, and he tried to deliver one in, and it was well wide.
Yeah.
Looked like he lost his footing, maybe.
It did. In fact, it went so far askew, I actually thought maybe it had bounced off the Arizona defender, but just a misfire.
Well, again, San Antonio FC, they won't be content, but they will certainly settle for a draw here, especially with the way the game started. In Arizona United SC, a draw is certainly not really to their best interest. Although it does keep them alive, would put them at 31 points in the table, would be 4 back of San Antonio FC if this result were to hold. Arizona United would have 3 games left in the season. Or 4 games left in the season, rather. Almost just kind of like hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, that's the case. I mean, this is one of those games, Dan, and I think that your statement is correct. They won't be happy with it, but they'll settle for it. But the one thing is, it's the difference of really being able to feel good about your chances moving forward versus feeling like you're still very much in a dogfight. And a draw here, you're still in the dogfight.
Poltroneri will take the throw in once again, a couple of steps back from where he was. Darren Powell picking out the spot where he should be. Poltroneri lofts it out of the San Antonio FC side of the field. McBride helps it along. Again, Poltraderi pushing it through. Good challenge by Biko. Again, who else?
Yeah.
Strips Tyler Blackwood of the ball.
Radnock Brennan having a tremendous game. I think it's his best game of the year.
Tyler Blackwood into space. Blackwood, and he just ran into too many black jerseys. They do a little bit too much there. Alvarez, as it opens up a little bit here for San Antonio. Jason Johnson. Johnson tripped up, and we will get a whistle, and we'll get a handball on Jason Johnson.
I was wondering if that was going to be the call. I understand it. I don't like this call, Dan, because he's going down, and eventually it's just like, all right, I guess he could use his face to block the rest of his body from going down here, but
there's a little bit of a shove from behind by,
yeah, I guess he was
Christian
staying the
Silva.
left hand. Actually, as I saw that one, Dan, I'm wondering how much you could call that a handball. It seemed like it actually was more neck-shoulder, but it's kind of hard to tell from our vantage point.
No indication yet of any added stoppage time here right now as we're closing in on the 90th minute at Toyota Field in a 1-1 game. Antunes going to get a nice ball back here and some space for Antunes up the flank. Antunes delivers into the box. Alvarez, he lost it, and it set up a chance. A good save by Matt Cardoni.
It might not have been the most athletic save you're ever going to see, but a very important one.
Well, especially what's been going on lately, late in the games for San Antonio FC, as Salazar lost his footing.
Yeah,
and
he's just tired.
Sam Garza trying to close in on the ball. It was Garza who had the last shot just a moment ago.
That's a bad call. There was absolutely no contact there. That's a very bad call.
2 minutes of stoppage time is what will be added on here today at Toyota Field. So roughly 2.5 minutes remaining here in this match. San Antonio FC, Arizona United SC even at 1. Rafa Castillo. Challenge from Cortez sends the ball out of bounds as we move into stoppage time. And again, 2 minutes stoppage time added on here this evening. Again, a point for San Antonio FC would put them in 8th in the table at the conclusion of this week. Seattle plays tomorrow against Vancouver. Sounders win would actually put them in the number 8 spot after Seattle got a victory this weekend and up to 33 points.
Yeah.
Gunderson, amazing to think that considering what we saw from Seattle. Castillo, a drive, oh great save, a rebound chance, set wide by Sean Chin. Sean Chin was there after Wazinski made the save, but he could not put the rebound in.
Nope. And that was going to be a difficult rebound, Dan, because even though he was right there, you could say he's point blank, but just the angle or lack thereof, that was going to be a difficult rebound.
That is Rafa Castillo's wheelhouse right there.
Yep.
30 yards out. Difficult save by Wazinski. Duncan McCormick has come on here, as he has taken out Sam Garza, who was actually a second half substitute, so he played all of about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And maybe 30 seconds or so left in this one here. We're going to throw in for United, but it appears as we will finish with a 1-1 draw here today at Toyota Field, which again may not be the most satisfying result for San Antonio FC, but they'll certainly take the 1 point in their race for a playoff spot.
Well, I think it's probably going to be a lack of high fives in the locker room for San Antonio FC after this game, but you're right, Dan. You said it the right way. They'll take it.
That is it. San Antonio FC, Arizona United SC for the final time this season in the rubber match. They play to a 1-1 draw. Long Tan with a goal in the 9th minute for Arizona United SC, and Carlos Alvarez getting his 3rd of the season for San Antonio FC in the 43rd minute. No score. No scoring, that is, in the second half. San Antonio FC moves into a playoff spot as they pick up their 35th point, improving overall to 9-9-8. We'll take a break. Jeff and I will return with some post-game thoughts right after this.
This is what we use to clean our engines. This is what we use to stay connected to our families and get us to our customers. It helps us save lives and simply makes life better. This is what we use to explore the open road and to keep our nation strong. Clean, quality fuels from Valero. When it comes to powering the American dream, this is what we use. Valero.
When it needs to be ultra exciting, high flying, non-stop action, San Antonio FC Soccer's got you covered. When it needs to be high performing, hard working, high tech, super safe, built for comfort, and surprisingly affordable, Holt Cat has got you covered. With best-in-class Cat heavy equipment, engines, generators, and more, plus legendary service and support, and the largest parts inventory and distribution network in Texas. Kick it into high gear with Holt Cat.
Celebrate the season right with Stars Basketball and Family Fun Day. Every Saturday and Sunday home game presented by News 4 and Fox 29. Ticket and food packages start at just $13. Head over to sastars.com for more info. Season presented by Krista Santa Rosa Health System and HEB.
Welcome to Corner Store. How can we help?
Well, I'm thirsty.
We have juice, teas, and over 100 ways to create your drink with our Coca-Cola Freestyle.
Wow, that's a lot of drinks.
Need a boost? We've got fresh coffee and great deals on energy drinks.
That's cool. And hot.
Ready to relax? Check out our craft beer and wine selection.
Classy.
How else can we help?
I'll just take these. Thanks.
Don't forget the milk. Just $2.39 a gallon at Corner Store. Always fresh, guaranteed. We're fresh and friendly. We're Corner Store.
Grab your tickets at sanantoniofc.com.
Back at Toyota Field, San Antonio FC, Arizona United SC in the rubber match between these two teams today. They settle for a 1-1 draw here at Toyota Field as San Antonio FC improves overall to 9-9-8, picking up their 35th point and moving into a playoff spot now in 8th. Arizona United SC 8-12-7. They're now at 31 points and currently sitting 11th overall in the table. Jeff, quickly some thoughts on this one in a game where I know San Antonio FC, look, they always want the 3 points, but especially coming off the way they wrapped up in Kansas City on Wednesday, this was a game like they felt that they probably should have come in and taken 3 points.
I think that they absolutely thought that they were going to take 3 points, especially when you consider the previous result against Arizona. You'd think that, okay, well, if we can have that kind of result at home before, and we seemingly are playing better soccer now, then why not us taking another 3 points? Instead, they settle for the 1. It puts them in the playoffs if the season were to end today. But with a couple of games left, Dan, for their opponents, and then an extra game that they still have left on their schedule compared to a number of teams that they have in front of them and right behind them, still they go from maybe being in the driver's seat to still being in a dogfight to try and get one of these spots.
They're still in control of their playoff destiny. Seattle, which will play tomorrow, Labor Day up in Vancouver. A win for them, they will move into 8th, 1 point ahead of San Antonio FC.
And then you think about it, that's such a perfect game for you to bring up, Dan, because you look at some of the teams that are at the top of the standings where they, quote, don't need it. how those games where you'd say, well, Seattle probably isn't going to beat Vancouver, but then all of a sudden it's like, well, what's Vancouver thinking about right now? As they have an obvious route to the playoffs, just, which games are they going to take seriously, especially when you're looking at this point in the season. You've got some Wednesday games filling in to go along with weekend games. You've got a lot of teams playing consecutive games, so there's going to be a little bit of picking and choosing for those top teams in the division.
Carlos Alvarez getting his 3rd goal of the season in the 43rd minute and his 2nd against Arizona. And here it was, Jeff. That's what got United, or actually here was where the scoring started today for United as Long Tan opened it in the 9th minute.
Yep, how many offsides did we see from him? But, he got it when they needed it. And then Carlos Alvarez, we saw them trying to set that up a number of times. Then it finally comes through there.
Stay dry, pal. The hunt for the USL playoffs continues Saturday here at Toyota Field. San Antonio FC welcomes St. Louis FC into town for a 7:30 kickoff. Tickets start at $10. Available now at sanantoniofc.com. For Jeff Sheen, our entire crew, I'm Dan Weiss. Our final from Toyota Field, San Antonio FC 1, Arizona United SC 1. Following has been a presentation of the United Soccer League and Spurs Sports and Entertainment. So long, everybody.